Some of my struggles have been chronic anxiety. That's the main one.
Health. I would say anxiety is one of my biggest struggles.
I think mental health has a wide range of severity, and many people struggle with it in some form. For me, I'd gratefully say my mental health is fair. For the struggles I do have, I'd argue that they revolve around stress in dealing with the things I do, whether it's being a son, athlete, or student. And I think that's common for lots of high schoolers, and which hopefully doesn't become increasingly normal. And sometimes it's hard for me to find balance and prioritize the things that I have or just keep up with my thoughts.
Right now, not a ton, because I am on medication that helps me kind of level out a little bit. It's interesting because when I'm in a high anxiety situation, I can feel it kick in. It's very strange. But before that, how it affected my daily life was I was hyperventilating, and so I would get tinglings in my legs and in my arms. I had huge stomach issues, stomach pain, issues there. And one of the strangest things actually that I realized I had anxiety was being in a large crowd and not knowing if I could escape or not. So for example, in chapel, I couldn't go to chapel for about a year because I thought, oh no, if I get up, people are gonna see me, what's gonna happen? And that got me all kind of revved up and anxious. So for a while in church even, I would sit next to my then fiance and take his pulse to make sure that my heart wasn't going to explode any minute. So, but now, much better.
Like many, I definitely have days where I just struggle or come to school or practice totally drained. It can sneakily affect my sleep I get, which leads to like a tiring day at school or practice. And there's times where I just sit unmotivated and I'm just like exhausted, and then I gotta say to myself, I gotta go again, or tell myself to just grind throughout the day.
Yeah, when it's really, really bad, it kind of puts my day on pause and doesn't really allow me to like move on with my day. Like if I have a panic attack or an anxiety attack or something. And when it's not, it doesn't stop me, but it does make my day a lot harder to get through than it should.
Okay. So I have been struggling with mental health my entire life. I went through a lot of things when I was a kid that kind of set things off. So I've always had stomach issues and kind of traits of anxiety. I was not diagnosed with it until about 6 years ago. I was dealing with it and wondering what was going on, thought I was gonna die, and then 2 days before my birthday, I went to the emergency room, and that was the first time anyone used the words chronic anxiety with me.
So 4 to 5 years.
This is always an interesting question because I know there's some purpose, just some days it's harder to see than others. It would be nice to say, well, God did this because of this. God did this because I could talk to this student or help this person. But some days I struggle with that for sure. I see God more in the people that He sent to support me when I was going through all this. Because the biggest thing for me when I was being diagnosed was knowing I'm not alone. And so having people in my life saying, yeah, I go through this too, or I'm there for you, without judgment, just with love, that was huge for me.
So the one thing that you could always count on is like God, being able to talk to God. And so I think that like Him just like working through me and giving me peace when I ask for it, and just like letting me know that it's okay not to be okay.
Yes, people have said that to me, and I felt terrible. And in fact, I used to say this to myself too. I grew up kind of in the mindset that if something's wrong, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get over it. If you're anxious, you should pray more. If you are freaking out about something, you don't have enough trust, or don't worry, it will pass in time. And it took me a while to realize that this is just how my brain works and how God made me. And yeah, something that I think it's helped other people accept as well, that anxiety is not just something, at least chronic anxiety, that you're putting on an act or a show and then you can just get over it.
Yes, some people have said this to me, and I just like, I don't know how to respond to that question, because I feel like it's like you're telling me that there's this like fix, and then I'm like looking at the fix but I'm not using it. That's not how it goes at all. Like, he provides other options besides just talking to him, and so I don't think that they really get the full picture when they say that.
I've never really been told this actually. I think that it's false too, because I think you can have a lot of trust in God but still struggle with mental health. If you trust in God, your mind isn't instantly going to be like, oh, everything is perfectly fine, I'm not going to worry about anything. It's part of our human body to think ahead, and it can cause stress and worry, and sometimes our mind just goes too fast.
A huge thing for me when I am feeling anxious is exercise, actually. So running helps a ton with anxiety for me. Biking, swimming, things like that. As far as people who help me, I would say my husband is my number one kind of person who helps. He's great too, because he doesn't let me just say things are fine. He says, no, really, how are you doing? And then he helps me talk about it. So he is a person that knows what to say and knows what to do.
I've definitely had my fair share of low moments, like we all have. It's easy to put on a mask in front of people too. Sometimes I've kept to myself, which may have not been healthy, and other times I just go out with my friends and make sure to have a laugh. The method I find best of lifting myself up is to find a hobby or like something to do, like go to the gym, paint, journal, sing, write, whatever works best for you, and I encourage you to find uplifting joy in.
Biggest advice would be to talk to someone about it. The biggest thing I feel like in anything in life is to know that you're not the only one, and that you're not alone, and that there are people out there who would love to help you and love to talk to you. So I think that's a huge thing with mental illness and mental disability, is that when you think you're the only one, you kind of isolate yourself, and that is exactly what you should not do. You should have someone or a group of people who can help you.
Find an outlet for sure. Find someone gentle who has an always listening ear and will keep things private. I've been told when I was an underclassman that teachers are always there for you, and I've seen that. Like Mrs. Hillians, she will keep things totally real with you, and she's always there. I've seen them help many students, and I know a teacher would sacrifice your time to help you privately. I promise you that. Another important thing is to be the outlet for someone. If they come to you, it's so important to be there, because you can learn from them, and you might be the only person they trust. It can be healthy to help others through their problems, like an accountability partner kind of. Make sure to check up on your friends too. You never know when a friend is truly going through something until you ask them and have a good conversation.
You know, at the start of my mental health journey, I was very ashamed to admit that there was something wrong, because I felt like there was so many things that I should be doing that I wasn't doing, and I didn't want to tell my parents, I didn't want to tell my friends, I didn't want to like go out and actually get help. But if you want to get past it, then you have to stop being afraid of it, because no matter what it is, I mean, it's gonna take control of your life if you don't fix it. And so like, I go to therapy, and that's something that was really scary at first, but as long as you make strides to getting better, it doesn't matter how big or small the steps are, as long as you do it and try to get there.